Hunting for Answers is a production of the Black Effect Podcast Network and iHeartRadio. Welcome to Hunting for Answers, a true crime podcast. I'm your host, Hunter, and today we're highlighting a case that unfolded in April of 2014. A 21-year-old woman was last seen in Detroit, Michigan, following a heated public confrontation. After that, she disappeared. There were no returned calls, no confirmed sightings, and no clear explanation for where she went. What followed was an investigation that had to be pieced together through witness accounts, timelines, and what people said and did in the days after she vanished. And by the end of that year, the question was no longer just where she was, but whether the evidence could establish what had actually happened to her. This is the story of Racine Lamour Taliaferro. Born on November 26, 1986, Racine Lamour Taliaferro was 27 years old when she was last seen. At the time, she was living in Detroit, Michigan. People close to Racine would later describe how quickly it felt like something was wrong. After she disappeared, the contact they expected from her stopped. In 2014, Racine was in a relationship with a man named Jonathan Michael McMahon. As this case developed, that relationship became central to the investigation and to what happened next. This is also a case that moved forward without remains ever being recovered, but not without witnesses. On the night of April 26, 2014, into the early morning hours of April 27th, Racine and McMahon were at the clubhouse of the Satan's Sidekick Motorcycle Club on East Davidson in Detroit. McMahon was associated with the motorcycle club, and the confrontation took place at its clubhouse, where others were present. Multiple people were there that night, and according to testimony, several witnesses observed Racine and McMahon arguing. This was not described as a quiet dispute. Witnesses said it was loud, public, and that the argument intensified. According to testimony, during that confrontation, Racine removed her motorcycle club, quote, colors, and said she was leaving. Witnesses told the jury that McMahon became physically aggressive. One witness testified that he held a knife to Racine's neck. Others described Racine as afraid. This is the last time Racine Lamour Taliaferro was publicly confirmed to have been seen. After that night, Racine disappeared. Her family and friends were unable to reach her, and they did not hear from her again. Those close to Racine immediately felt something was wrong. This abrupt break in contact was not consistent with the communication her family was used to having with her. In the days following Racine's disappearance, witnesses testified about statements and actions attributed to McMahon. According to testimony, he told people he and Racine had broken up and that, quote, she was gone. Shortly after, McMahon sold Racine's cell phone. Witnesses also testified that her personal belongings were moved out of the home and placed in a nearby vacant property. These details were later presented at trial. Witnesses also testified about what they observed inside McMahon's home. One witness described seeing what appeared to be dried blood on a bedroom door and said that McMahon asked for help cleaning the basement with bleach and water. Prosecutors pointed to this testimony as part of the evidence presented at trial. During the investigation, prosecutors presented testimony about statements McMahon allegedly made to others. One witness testified that McMahon described choking Racine and said she coughed up blood. The Wayne County medical examiner testified that such symptoms can be consistent with strangulation. However, no autopsy was possible because Racine had not been found. While incarcerated, a jailhouse informant testified that McMahon made incriminating statements about what happened to Racine and where her remains were taken. The location of her remains has never been publicly confirmed. In October of 2014, a jury found Jonathan Michael McMahon guilty of first-degree premeditated murder in connection with the death of Racine Lamour Taliaferro. The verdict reflected the jury's findings that Racine's death was a homicide and that McMahon was responsible. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. In 2016, the Michigan Court of Appeals upheld the conviction. The court determined that the evidence presented at trial was sufficient to support the verdict, even though Racine's remains had not been recovered. Subsequent post-conviction review was denied in 2022, and the conviction remains in place. For Racine's family, the verdict provided accountability without full closure. Racine Lamour Taliaferro's remains have never been found. Her family has never been able to bring her home or lay her to rest. Questions still remain about what happened in her final moments. Our thoughts are with the family and loved ones of Racine Lamour Taliaferro. Anyone with information about the location of Racine is asked to contact the Detroit Police Department. Their contact information can be found in the show notes below. As we close out this episode, remember that sharing Racine's story helps keep her case from being forgotten and supports her loved ones as they continue to search for closure. For updates and more cases, follow Hunting for Answers. You can also connect with us through our Facebook group and find us on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Reach out if there's a story you believe deserves attention. Thank you for joining us for another episode. Until next time. Hunting for Answers is a production of the Black Effect Podcast Network. For more podcasts from the Black Effect Podcast Network, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.